Welcome to my channel. My name is Ria and this is your weekly astrology horoscope for the week of 2nd May to 8th May 2022. But before we begin, I request you to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you can be notified every time I post a video. And on my channel, I post weekly horoscopes, new moon horoscopes, and full moon horoscopes, and you can watch those if you are interested. So for this video, I'm going to talk about the background energies very briefly. Then I will speak about the energies for this week. And towards the end of the video, I will pull a few cards for the week's energies. So let's get started now. Coming into this week, we are in between eclipses, right? On 30th April, we had a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Taurus, right? So coming into this week, we are in between eclipses. On May 16th, we will have a lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. Now, this is important because the period between eclipses is considered to be a very karmic zone. It's considered to be a very fated zone, right? Fated events can take place, karmic events can take place, and eclipses can bring about events. Say if there's something that has been meaning to happen but hasn't happened for some reason, eclipses can speed up events. So these few days up until May 16th are very karmic, are fated, and we are in that zone this week. Now, the second thing about this week is that on April 29th, Pluto went retrograde. Since Feb of this year, all planets, all energies have been direct, right? And when energies are direct, when planets are moving forward, the pace of our lives picks up. But when planets retrograde, the pace of life slows down a little bit, and it's more a period of working on things we worked on when the planets were direct. So Pluto going retrograde on April 29th marks the beginning of planets going retrograde, which means slowly the pace might begin to slow down. We might be reviewing more things now than we did, say, between the months of Feb and April. Pluto went retrograde on April 29th. Mercury will go retrograde on May 10th. So slowly we'll see this slowdown of energies. But right now, at least till May 16th, we are in between eclipses, which means eclipses can speed things up. So that is also happening. So those were the two things that I wanted to touch upon real quick regarding the background energies. Now, I speak about these in depth in my weekly horoscope that I did for the previous week, so you can watch that if you want to know more. Now, this week we have a lot going on as well. So I'll just mention the events, the transits real quick, and then I'll talk about those. So we have Venus changing signs this week. We have Mercury covering the zone which it is going to retrograde over. We have Jupiter sextiling Pluto, Mars sextiling Uranus, the Sun conjuncting Uranus. We also have the Sun sextiling Mars and the first quarter square of the Moon. So a lot to talk about, and let's get started, right? First important thing happens on Monday, 2nd May. And what's happening here is that Venus is changing signs. Now, if you watched my last week's video, you know that last week on Monday, Tuesday, and even Wednesday, a lot of energy was in Pisces, right? We had the Moon, Mars, Venus, Neptune, and Jupiter, a lot of Pisces. But this week, you can see the difference, right? Now, Venus has left the sign of Pisces. The Moon has moved on. It's in Gemini on Monday. Now we have Jupiter, Neptune, and Mars in Pisces. It is still a lot of energy in Pisces, but it's a little less than last week. And Venus in Pisces is a very free-flowing, flexible energy when it comes to our relationships and projects. Venus loves the sign of Pisces. It works really well there. But now it's entered Aries, a Mars-ruled energy, and Mars is the planet of action, and Aries is a sign associated with starting things. Aries is the beginning of the zodiac, right? We begin the zodiac with Aries. It's all about taking action, making things happen, starting things. So we might be doing that with our projects and relationships, right? We might be saying, okay, you know what? This is the project I've been wanting to work on. And with Venus in that sign of Aries, we might have that drive and energy, Mars, to make that happen. Or we could be impulsive even. So that's something to watch out for, because Aries, although it's great at starting things, it's great at taking action. And I'm not saying if you're Aries, you're these things. I'm just saying Aries energy manifests as starting things and taking action. So at the same time, we might feel a little impulsive. So just be mindful of that. Think things through a little bit before taking that action and making things happen. And I did say that things will start to slow down, but only Pluto is retrograde right now. Mercury will go retrograde on May 10th, and after that, slowly the planets will start to go retrograde. So we still have a lot of forward moving energy to go after what we want and make things happen, and especially because planets like Mercury, Venus, Mars are all direct right now. So we have that fire, we have that energy to go after what we want. And with Venus in Aries, right? It's towards our projects, it's towards our relationships. Venus is also a sign associated with finances, right? It's the sign associated with how we feel about ourselves. And the eclipse that happened on 30th April was in Taurus, a Venus-ruled energy. So perhaps, and that was a new moon solar eclipse, right? New moon eclipses begin the energy. They're a seeding point of new energy coming in. So perhaps with Venus in Aries, we might really find that energy to work on that new energy that's come in with the eclipse. And we are in a faded zone right now. So that's the first thing for this week. And then on Tuesday, I believe, Jupiter will sextile Pluto. So let's see that. I'm going to move up the chart. And yeah, there we go. So Jupiter right here in the sign of Pisces will sextile Pluto, which is now retrograde, right? It's in red font, retrograde. This is Tuesday, 3rd May. They're making a 60-degree angle. And this is considered a positive aspect in astrology, 60-degree angle. So let me break this energy down a little bit. Jupiter is the planet of blessings. It's the planet of rewards. It's the planet that brings with it some healing. It's the planet also of learning lessons. And Jupiter magnifies, expands anything it comes in contact with. And now it's making an aspect with Pluto, right? Pluto is the planet of the hidden. It's the planet of transformation, of catharsis, of releasing things, of endings, of beginnings. Very simply put, Pluto is total transformation, right? And it finds things out. It brings information to light. So Pluto is all these things, and now it's making a positive aspect with Jupiter. So what this could mean is, first of all, that Pluto is magnified, right? Because Jupiter is a magnifier and it's aspecting Pluto, magnifying it, magnifying transformation, magnifying change, magnifying healing, right? Pluto is also healing, but the healing that comes with Pluto can sometimes feel challenging. So it's magnifying all these things, and it's also magnifying spiritual growth. Pluto also brings about spiritual transformation. It's the ruler of Scorpio, right? Pluto rules Scorpio. And Scorpio is the sign where we grow, right? We face our fears, we face the dark, we face everything in the sign of Scorpio that's buried deep within us, so that we can grow, so that we can release all that stuff and grow spiritually. So Pluto is associated with spiritual growth as well. So all these themes are highlighted: themes of transformation, themes of endings, themes of beginnings, themes of catharsis, release, spiritual growth, all Pluto themes, right? This is magnified. Pluto is also cleaning things out, right? It's a purge. Pluto brings with it an emotional release, which you can call is a purge, or any other form of total release, purging things out. So that is highlighted this week, especially on Tuesday. And these energies are slower moving energies, right? They take some time to move across the circle. That was a bad circle. Across this, right? Across the zodiac. So what that means is that although this aspect is happening on Tuesday exact, we'll feel the build up to it, right? In astrology, we feel the build up. Once it happens on Tuesday, then it's more like a release of things. So that's on Tuesday. Now let's move on to Wednesday and we'll see this happen. You can even see it on Tuesday, but let me just show it to you guys properly. So on Wednesday, we have Mars here sextiling Uranus, right? Mars, like I said, is the planet of action. It's the planet of initiative. It's our energy. It's our drive. And Uranus is the planet that awakens us. Uranus wants us to be our true, unique, authentic self. Uranus is a lot of energy that is not stable, right? It's more like outbursts. It comes in bursts. There's a lot of energy and then there's nothing. Then there's a lot of energy and then there's nothing. That's Uranus. So when these two energizers, right, Uranus is a lot of energy and Mars is an energizer, when they make a positive aspect, we just have tremendous amount of energy to make things happen and get things done. But Uranus is sudden. Uranus is unpredictable. Uranus is unexpected, right? So we might feel this sudden burst of energy that comes out of nowhere, right? This sudden drive, this sudden willingness or desire to take action and make things happen. So this is a positive aspect. Typically, I would say with Mars and Uranus, there can be a tendency to engage in aggressive behavior and confrontations, but this is a positive aspect. So that is unlikely, but with Uranus, you never know. Uranus is unpredictable. So just keep that in mind, right? Just keep that in mind this week as we build up to this energy, which peaks out on Wednesday. That although this energy will mainly give us that drive and energy, a lot of drive and energy to make things happen and go after what we want, but there might be, highly unlikely, but possible, a tendency of engaging in aggressive behavior, aggressive conversation, because Mars here is the planet of aggression. So just keep that in mind as we build up to this energy, which peaks out on Wednesday. And then for most of the world, this aspect that I'm going to speak about next will be on Thursday, but Pacific time it's happening on Wednesday or early into Thursday. And what's happening here is that the Sun is conjunct Uranus, right? So since the beginning of the week, we'll feel the build-up of the Sun moving closer and closer to Uranus, and at the same time, sextile Mars. So like I said, Uranus is a lot of energy. It's sudden energy. It's unexpected energy. And now the planet associated with our identity, right, is conjuncting Uranus. The Sun is our consciousness. It's our soul. It's our identity. And it's meeting up with Uranus. So what this can bring is a sudden change, unexpected change to perhaps something in our consciousness or perhaps something in our identity. And Mars here is supporting this energy, right? So we have that drive to make that change that might come about unexpectedly and suddenly, connected to the Sun, connected to our consciousness or identity. So what could happen here, for example, this is just an example, it could manifest in multiple different ways depending on your life. So for example, you say, okay, you know what? I want to start this new thing that is more in alignment with who I am. Uranus, right? Uranus brings things or gets rid of things that serve your uniqueness, right? It says, okay, this is in alignment with you, I'll bring this into your life. This is not in alignment with you, I'll get rid of it. So what could happen here is that something that is more our unique, authentic self, something connected perhaps with our consciousness or identity might come into our lives, and we'll have the drive to act on it, right? Act on it. Okay, for example, now it could be anything, but this is what's coming to my mind right now, so I'll just say it. Say you've been wanting to sing, right? You've been wanting to take singing lessons, and somehow you've been feeling shy, or you've been feeling like, no, I can't sing in front of people. What's the point of taking lessons? Or what's the point? You're in that phase right now. But with this aspect, it could be, you know what? this is what I want to do, and I feel in some ways this will enhance my uniqueness. It feels in tune with who I am. And you'll maybe call up the teacher and say, okay, you know what, let's start the lessons tomorrow. So something as simple as that, right? Basically something that's more in tune with your uniqueness, more in alignment with your uniqueness, can come into our lives quite suddenly, and we might find that desire to act on it, or not the desire, or we might find that energy to act on it. It could be anything. It could be anything. So this is a positive aspect, I would say, but Uranus can feel like a lot of energy. So we might feel this sudden jolt of energy when the Sun meets up with Uranus and is in a sextile with Mars. So this is Wednesday into Thursday, those 2 days, but we will feel the build-up, we'll feel it. So a lot of energy this week to make things happen, although retrograde has started, right? Pluto is now retrograde, but still we have that energy. Venus is in Aries, and all other energies are still direct, and with aspects, and we are in eclipse season, we are in between eclipses, so there's still that energy to make things happen, although it is beginning to slow down. And this aspect of Mars sextiling the Sun exact will happen in some places on Friday, May 6th. So Wednesday to Friday, there's this build up and peak out of Uranus and Mars and the Sun. So it's not a short couple of hours, right? It's a build up, and in some places it will happen on Friday, up till Friday. Let me show you guys actually. Let's move up the chart to Friday. There we go. Mars and the Sun exact on Friday. So I just wanted to show that to you guys, but we'll feel it because even on Wednesday, right? Let me move back the chart. On Wednesday, Uranus is at 14, the Sun is at 14, Mars is at 14, almost hitting 15. But it's a build-up, which peaks out in some places on Friday. And towards the end of the week, on Sunday, 8th May, we have the first quarter square of the moon, right? And this is when the Sun and the moon make their first 90-degree angle after the new moon. So what this begins is a period of 7 to 8 days, which means all of next week, which is connected to adjustments, which is connected to incorporating, right? Making changes in our lives to incorporate the new moon energy, the new moon eclipse energy in this case, that started on 30th April. So these 7-8 days, we will be saying, okay, you know what? These are the changes I need to make. These are the adjustments I need to make to incorporate that new energy. In this case, a very powerful energy that started on 30th April. And generally speaking, new moon energy stays with us for a month, right? But an eclipse energy stays with us for much, much longer. It's something that we work on for a much longer time, not just a month. So keep that in mind, and at least 6 months, right? Eclipse energy stays with us for at least 6 months. So just keep that in mind, that this new energy that started on 30th April is something that we will continue to work on for 6 months or so, if not more. And that's how we end the week, right? So the highlight of this week is the fact that we're in between eclipses. And it's a karmic zone, it's a fated zone. We also have Venus in Aries. And I'll admit, Venus really does not like to be in Aries that much because it's a Mars-ruled sign. Venus rules the feminine and Mars rules the masculine, right? So Venus, the feminine, is in a masculine sign. But what that means is we can use that to our advantage by taking action, Aries, making things happen, Aries, starting things, Aries, connected to Venus, connected to our relationships, projects, and finances. So I would say it's not a negative thing, right? We just need to use the energy positively and constructively. And we still have a lot of Pisces, a lot of emphasis still on Pisces, although a little less than last week because Venus here has moved on. And Pisces is a very creative energy. It's a very spiritual energy. It's an energy associated with closing out the past. It's the end of the zodiac. It's where we complete the circle. So it's about releasing things. It's about releasing the past, and that is still with us, although it's not exclusive, right? It's not mutually exclusive. It's not like we're closing out the past only and not stepping into the future. It's happening together. We're closing out the past, and at the same time, we're stepping into the future. Aries is the beginning point, and Pisces is the end point. And I think that sums it up. And I said this in my last week's video as well. Right now we have Pisces and Taurus. In the beginning of this year, we had Capricorn and Aquarius. Very different energies. Now, Capricorn and Aquarius are Saturn-ruled energies. They're all about hard work, discipline, taking action. And Aquarius is also, it's not as much related to hard work and discipline as much as Capricorn is, but it is also associated with progress and finding equality and, making things good in general. It's associated with work, but a different kind of work than Aquarius. But Pisces and Taurus are different. Taurus is about indulgence. Taurus is about self-worth. It's about material possessions. It's about our resources. It's about the raw materials. It's about the food we eat. Taurus is all these things. And Pisces, like I said, is about letting go of the past, but it is also design. It is also creativity. It is also the need for universal love and compassion. And it is also connecting with the higher realms. So Pisces is all these things, and we have a lot of energy in these two places right now, in these two signs. But slowly the energy will start moving into Aries because Venus is already here. Mars will enter Aries soon, so will Jupiter. Speaking of Jupiter, on May 10th, Jupiter is going to enter the sign of Aries as well. And soon we will only have Neptune left in Pisces. So right now, a lot of focus still on closing out the past. And on April 12th, we had a once in about 13-year transit where Jupiter and Neptune met up right on April 12th, and this began a new 13-year cycle, and this also was associated with closing out the past in a major way. So just thought I'd share that with you in case you missed that. And I think that sums it up. So to sum it up, I would say that this is a karmic week. This is a fated week. This is a week where we have a lot of drive, a lot of energy, a lot of initiative to make things happen and go after what we want, because Mars and Uranus are in an aspect this week, and so is the Sun. A lot of energy, a lot of fuel to go after what we want, although there is a subtle slowdown happening. Pluto went retrograde on April 29th. Mercury is ready to go retrograde and speaking of that, right, Mercury is going to retrograde between 4 degrees of Gemini and 26 degrees of Taurus. So this is the area where it's going to go back and forth, back and then forward, right? And it's going to go direct again on June 3rd. So to conclude it, still a lot of focus on closing out the past, still a lot of Pisces with us, but at the same time with Venus in Aries, we can really make things happen. And with Mars making aspects with both Uranus and the Sun, we have that energy and drive. But be mindful of reacting suddenly, reacting unexpectedly, because Mars and Uranus is a lot of energy and we need to use it well, right? We need to use it well, because if we don't, it can manifest. Although this is a positive aspect, it's highly unlikely, but it's possible, right? It can manifest as frustration or anger. So just keep that in mind. And next week, let me just tell you guys what's happening next week. Next week, Mercury here is going to go retrograde. On May 10th, Jupiter is going to change signs into the sign of Aries. On May 10th, the Sun here is going to square Saturn. It is also going to conjunct the North Node, Rahu. It's very close to the North Node right now. And on May 16th, we will have another eclipse, right? A full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio at 25 degrees. 25 degrees around here, right? So we'll talk about that, and now I will pull a few cards for this week's energy and then we'll close it out. Start with this deck. It says death, and it says, I'm learning that endings are merely beginnings. And perhaps this is to do with all that's going on, and we are in between eclipses, right? Eclipses that bring in new energy, and sometimes to let the new come in, the old must go, right? So this card is a lesson card. The lesson we need to learn is that sometimes endings are merely beginnings. So for the new to come in, sometimes we need to end the old. So this is the lesson for this week. And right now we have a lot of Pisces as well. Still a lot of Pisces. Pisces is closing out the past. It's all about releasing the past, the pain that we have from our soul, from our subconscious mind, from within. So this is the lesson for the week. Change. This is Uranus. This is also the eclipse. Eclipses bring with them changes. They bring them with them new energy, right? So a lot of energy about change in Uranus and Pluto both. Pluto is especially associated with change, but it's a slower change with Pluto, right? With Uranus, it's a sudden change. So a card about change, that we must embrace change now. Leadership. This is Aries. Aries is about leadership. It's about taking action. It's about making things happen. And Venus is in Aries, right? And Mars, the ruler of Aries, is aspecting the Sun and Uranus this week. So we must step up, right? It does not mean being a leader in like a corporation or something. It just means stepping up in your own life, right? Leading yourself where you want to go. So there's that energy as well. And we have that drive. With Mars aspecting the Sun and Uranus, we have that energy. And the eclipse was also in an aspect with Mars. So we have that energy to really step up and change things. Journey. Your life is a sacred gift, and this card usually just means to me that focus on the journey, right? Focus on the journey and not the destination. Because often when we just focus on the destination, we don't enjoy the journey, we don't savor it. And this is about enjoying the journey. Because once you're there, right? So this is about that. Pull the last card and then we'll close it out. Building blocks. And I've got this card after a very long time. A few months ago, this card would be falling out of the deck almost every second, third day, and building blocks. And this is a reminder that we are building right now, but slowly, right? We're slowly building things, building blocks. So work on things one step at a time, step up and take that action. There is energy for change, but we are building things. And I haven't mentioned this in a long time, but I don't know, I think I should mention it, that in 2020 we started 2 new astrological cycles, right? Cycles that happen rarely. And what happened then was in Jan of 2020, Saturn and Pluto conjuncted, right? And they conjunct once in 33 to 38 years. So it happened after the 1980s, the conjunction in 2020, Jan, of Saturn and Pluto. And that brought about a transformation, Pluto, to our material reality, right? Saturn in the sign of Capricorn, and Capricorn is a Saturn ruled energy. So that started this new change in all our lives. And in December of 2020, Saturn and Jupiter met up, right, in the sign of Aquarius, and they meet once in 20 years. So they began another 20-year cycle. So we started two long-term cycles in 2020, and perhaps that's why we've seen so much change since then. And we will continue to build on that change till, I believe, next year. So perhaps this is that, as well as a reminder that we're all building our lives right now, right, to incorporate the new energy that started in 2020 for us. So I'll show you guys the cards once again, and then we'll close it out. So this card is a lesson card teaching us that sometimes for new things, for new energies, the old must go. A lot of energy about change. Eclipses do bring with them change. Eclipses do bring with them new energy, new events that are karmic and fated. We are building right now, so keep that in mind. Perhaps this is referring to a longer term energy that started in 2020, or perhaps this is referring to the energy of the eclipse, right? Start building on that new energy. And this is the Aries energy of taking action, making things happen, in Mars. So stepping up is a big theme, taking action and doing what needs to be done. And at the same time, don't get caught up in the destination where you want to be. Focus on the journey and the destination will arrive. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next week. Bye.